भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस् भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस् भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि। धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि। संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
And my name is Hiroshi Morishita from Japan, and it's my great pleasure and honor to have a presentation in front of you. Okay? Today I would like to talk about how Buddhism influenced the construction of Japanese culture. I'll give you a instruction of a geometrical instruction in India and Japan. As you know well, India is here, India, and we are now Angao, here. And I and Shisho Furukawa came from Japan, here. And especially from Osaka, city Osaka is located here. That give you the comparison between India and Japan. Population, India has 1.33 billion people. On the other hand, Japan has 0.126 billion people. Area, India has 3.29 million square kilometers. On the other hand, Japan has 0.38 million square kilometers. Just India is 10 times bigger than Japan. This is a very important point. This is a historical relation regarding Buddhism. The left side is the things happened in India, and right side is the things happened in Japan. In before Christ, 5th century BC, Buddhism started in North India. And BC 268 to 232 is the Emperor King Ashoka's era. In Japan, 8239, just King Himiko's first government was established. And these two are very important from the viewpoint of Buddhism. AD 538, introduction of Buddhism via China and Korea to Japan. AD 604, the Japanese first constitution was made. And 87th century and the 8th century, big temples were constructed by emperor and nobility. 17th and 19th century was Edo era. Buddhism temples as ruling and education system. You know well, in 1920 to 1945, Subhas Chandra Bose's activity for independence in India. And also 1923 to 1956, Dr. Ambedkar's activity for quality. In Japan, in 1945, we lost World War II, and in India, 2 years after that, India got independence. And now, in Japan, Buddhism is a cultural basis as well as a religion. From now, I'll talk about the right side, the Buddhism influence to Japan. This is the very big tomb, and this shows the before Buddhism came to Japan. That is a 83 to 5th century. Early emperors were trying to unify Japan into one country. They made huge tombs to show their power and their proof of success of Persian of emperor. Many of these big tombs can be found in Osaka, where we came, and Nara. From the Chinese official written document, it seems that Empress Himiko finally unified Japan in early 3rd century. Religion at that time, before the Buddhism came to Japan, considered as an animism, to have awful feeling to nature and to worship ancestors. That is the early shape of Shinto, the Japanese original religion. The left side one is the big tomb. That is the Emperor Nintoku's tomb in Osaka, early 5th century. 840 meters long and 654 meters wide. The largest ancient tomb in Japan. The formal introduction of Buddhism to Japan happened AD 538. The formal introduction of Buddhism from Korea to Japan is regarded in 538. Even before that, overseas engineers were developing Buddhism in Japan. After the introduction, there were fights between two sects of willing to accept Buddhism and rejecting it. In AD 587, the late 6th century, Buddhism accepting sect won, and the early Japanese government started to use Buddhism philosophy as a ruling tool of nation. So the Buddhism started here, and then coming to China, and via Korea, it was transferred to Japan. This is the Prince Shotoku. From now, I'll talk about the Japan's first constitution by this Prince Shotoku. It happened AD 604, the beginning of 7th century. Prince Shotoku was a son of Emperor Yomei and was a serious believer of Buddhism. He supported Emperor Suiko as a smart politician. He did the following work. First, made Japan's first constitution. Second, sent delegation to China and started equal diplomatic relations. Third, made Japan's first bureaucrat system. Fourth, founded many big temples, like of Horyuji Temple and Shitennoji Temple and so on. Among these, the most important thing is the Japanese first constitution. That constitution is called 7 Articles Constitution. The first article is think harmony first and avoid fighting with others. That is the first article. That is the philosophy of Buddhism itself. The second article is respect three treasures. They are Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And third is the follow the instruction of emperors. So it is a very important and maybe a new to you, but Japan's first constitution, the Buddhism itself. This slide shows the Emperor Shoun's devotion to Buddhism. It happened in 8th century. Emperor Shaun tried to govern the nation using Buddhist philosophy. In 741, he commanded to build a temple in every county like the state. 743, he commanded to build great Buddha statue. And in 752, open eye ceremony of the great Buddha statue. The left picture is the great Buddha statue in Nara. His wife, Empress Komyo, started the welfare activity of giving medical treatment to poor people for free, also following Buddhism philosophy. After Emperor Shoun's death, his treasures, including things used in the great Buddha's ceremony, was donated to Todai's temple, and they have been protected until today. After that, there are many movements of Buddhism in Japan. Most of them are the introduction of the Buddhism from China, Buddhism sects from China. After the first introduction of Buddhism to Japan in 6th century, many different ways of understanding Buddhism were transferred from China for about 500 years. Most of them are still active in Japan as the Buddhism sects. The left side is the famous Japanese monks who started the Japanese sects. Left upper one is Kukai, a very famous monk. He started esoteric Buddhism of Shingon sect. Now, Venerable Furukawa Shinsho is the monk belonging to this Shingon sect. The right up is the Saicho who started Tentai sect. The middle two is the priest who started the Zen, and the lower two monk started the Amitabha worship sect. In the 15th century to 16th century in Japan, the rural government frequently changed, and there is so many civil wars, and so many bad diseases, and so many running short of food. After that, in 1603, Tokugawa soldier family started a new government. That government was very stable and lasted until late 19th century for about 300 years, which is called Edo era. The government obligated all the people to be registered in a nearby temple. This was a temple to take care of family's affairs like birth and death record and ceremony like funeral. Gradually, temple became a big familiar place to usual people, and there a teacher taught children manners, writing, reading, and arithmetic. This kind of small school was called Terakoya. Terakoya, Tera means temple. Koya means small place for an activity. Thanks to this education system, literacy rate at the middle of 19th century is estimated 70 to 90%. That was top level at that time in the world. The left figure is a Terakoya. She is a teacher, and he is writing something, and she is reading something, and this guy is sleeping, I know, and so on. And now, the Buddhism philosophy is a part of Japanese culture. Compared with other countries' religious situation, current Japanese Buddhism is rather a part of culture than a religion. Ways of thinking like equality, harmony, esteem of others' standing point, and cooperation are the common basis of Japanese people's union in difficult situations like fighting in World War II and recovering from the loss of war, natural disasters like earthquake, tsunami, typhoon, and also when they do a big project like constructing a big dam, developing freight train network, holding Olympic Games, and so on. This picture is the atomic bomb. It happened 1945. This is a big dam called Kuroyon, was built in 1960. These are the bullet trains. The first bullet train started at 1964. And these are the disasters. This is a big earthquake which occurred near Osaka, where we are living. This is the highway, but all the highway is bent by the shake of earthquake. But now, this highway is completely rebuilt by the cooperation of Japanese people. And this is also a big earthquake, tsunami. Here you can find the car is washed to road. This is a way, and this is road. Now this is the tower, and we'll have an Olympic game next year. And in addition, until now is the historical something, but I want to talk about the stupa in Neyagawa City, Osaka, Japan. And this is built by welfare activist Ms. Sadako Kawashima in spring, when I was born, 56 years ago. The Buddha's ash shared from New Delhi Museum was presented to her by India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, when she visited him at New Delhi on the occasion of her attendance at Buddha's 2,500 years ceremony in Nepal. This stupa is about 15 minutes ride on a motorcycle from my home. This is a summary of my talk today. Buddhism was introduced to Japan in 538. In Japanese first constitution by Prince Shotoku, there appear respect three treasures. Emperor Shun believed in Buddhism and built temples in every county all over Japan in 8th century. Many variations of Buddhism were introduced via China afterwards. Temples became familiar to usual people in 17th to 19th century and had a rural school to teach reading, writing, arithmetic, and manner. By these historical flows, Buddhism way of thinking, like equality, harmony, esteem of others' standing point, and cooperation, became a part of Japanese culture, which enables Japanese people to overcome hardships and to lead big projects to success. And almost all the information I talk today is from my high school textbook of Japanese history. So learning your country's history, especially about culture, gives you information about your current standing point. I'll give you a conclusion. India and Japan share the same cultural background of Buddhism for about 1500 years. And I strongly believe that people of both countries are good friends forever and can cooperate for the happiness of people and peace of all over the world. Thank you for your attention.